The day Mara Ellison quit her job, the sun was already high, flooding the city with a harsh, unforgiving light that made everything feel exposed. Her resignation email had been short, polite, and final, typed with trembling fingers during her lunch break, while her phone buzzed with reminders from her son's school and overdue bills. She pressed send, closed her eyes, and felt both relief and terror crash into her chest at the same time. She had no backup plan, no savings to cushion the fall. All she knew was that something inside her had finally broken, and she could not keep pretending she was okay. If you believe that kindness still matters and that second chances can change lives, please take a moment right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to our channel. Grandma's Book. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Mara was a single mother living in a small, sunlit rental house on the edge of town, where mornings began with packing lunches and evenings ended with helping her 8-year-old son Noah with homework at the kitchen table. She had taken the job at a fast-growing tech company 3 years earlier, believing it would offer stability. Instead, it gave her endless overtime, subtle judgment for leaving early to pick up her child, and a quiet pressure that reminded her every day that she was replaceable. Still, she stayed, because single mothers learn early how to endure. But that week, when Noah came home pale and exhausted after fainting at school from stress and lack of sleep, Mara knew the cost had become too high. The day she quit, she walked home under the bright afternoon sky, the noise of traffic blurring into a dull hum. She tried to reassure herself that she would find another job, that things would somehow work out, yet fear followed her into every room of the house, settling into the corners like dust. She spent the afternoon cleaning, not because the house was dirty, but because movement was the only way to keep her thoughts from spiraling. Noah sat in the living room drawing superheroes, unaware that their entire future felt frighteningly uncertain. What Mara did not know was that her resignation had landed on the desk of Julian Cross by mid-morning. Julian was the CEO of the company, a man known in business magazines for his sharp instincts and calm authority. He rarely involved himself in individual resignations, but something about Mara's file caught his attention. Her performance reviews were exceptional, her attendance was nearly perfect despite her circumstances, and her exit note, though brief, carried a quiet exhaustion that felt painfully human. Against his usual routine, Julian decided to look deeper. By early afternoon, while sunlight still streamed through office windows, Julian learned about Mara's situation. He read notes from managers who praised her dedication yet never once asked how she was coping. For reasons he could not immediately explain, he felt compelled to act. Perhaps it was guilt, or perhaps it was the memory of his own mother raising him alone after his father died. Whatever it was, by the time the day began to soften into late afternoon, Julian was already driving toward Mara's address, unsure of what he would say but certain he needed to see her face to face. Mara was folding laundry when the knock came. It was still daytime, the sky bright and clear, and for a moment she thought it might be a neighbor. When she opened the door and saw Julian Cross standing there, impeccably dressed yet visibly hesitant, her breath caught. The presence of her CEO on her doorstep felt unreal, almost intrusive, and a wave of embarrassment washed over her as she became suddenly aware of the modest home behind her. She braced herself for judgment, for criticism, for regret. Instead, what followed changed the direction of her life. Julian took in the small house, the children's drawings taped to the walls, the quiet resilience in Mara's tired eyes. He realized that behind every late email and rushed exit from meetings was a woman fighting an invisible battle. In the warmth of the afternoon light, he acknowledged the company's failure to see her, to support her, to offer flexibility when it mattered most. He explained why he had come, not with authority but with humility, recognizing her value not just as an employee, but as a person. As the sun moved slowly across the sky, casting long shadows through the windows, Mara felt something she had not felt in a long time. She felt seen, she felt heard. The conversation that unfolded was not about contracts or numbers, but about balance, dignity, and second chances. Julian offered her something unexpected, a role designed around her life, not at the expense of it. Flexible hours, remote work, support she never thought she was allowed to ask for. More than that, he offered an apology, sincere and unguarded. That evening, as daylight lingered and Noah shyly peeked from behind the hallway corner, Mara realized that quitting had not been the end. It had been the beginning. Over the following weeks, her life began to shift. Stress slowly loosened its grip. Laughter returned to the house. Mornings felt lighter. And while her professional future stabilized, something deeper changed too. Julian did not disappear after that day. He checked in, not as a CEO, but as someone who cared. Respect grew into trust, and trust quietly blossomed into something warmer, something neither of them rushed or named too soon. If this story stirred something inside you, if it reminded you that compassion can arrive when you least expect it, please take a moment to engage with this video. Your likes, shares, and comments help us continue bringing heartfelt stories to those who need them most. Just before this story ends, we have a special request for you. Please comment below with the words, "Kindness changes lives," if you believe that one thoughtful act can rewrite someone's future. Mara often looks back at that bright afternoon when fear and hope collided at her front door. She knows now that courage does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers, telling you to walk away from what is breaking you, even when the future feels uncertain. And sometimes in the middle of an ordinary day, kindness shows up unannounced and changes everything.